4 to 5 seconds.
4 to 5, yeah.
Some linger a little bit longer, but what we're seeing, as Dane had stated, matches geoengineers' plans exactly. It matches patents, and I'm going to mention the Welsbach patent, which specifically mentions aluminum oxide, and it matches what we're finding in massive amounts in the rain and snow, and of course no aluminum should be in the rain and snow. But I want to bring this up as well. Some of the risks that they had stated for doing these programs is exactly what we're seeing around the globe. So it's deeply concerning to a number of people. However, this issue, finally, as I stated, has been getting the attention of the scientific community, and people are waking up everywhere because of this. Yeah,
we watched one of the documentary not too long over the last week. Up in my neighborhood and everything. These people are just blown away by the information you two have brought out. I mean, when they seen the documentary, which is going to be on December 3rd at Sequoia Middle School, they just couldn't believe it. And these are teenagers and parents sitting there for the first time being woken up. So.
Right, there's never been anything like this explaining the information. There's always been, there's been chemtrails, and you could look up and you see the chemtrails, but there's never been anybody like you guys that has actually laid out all the politicians. You can see all the paperwork. You can see the patents.
Exactly. And for a long time, the corporate mainstream media has done a very effective job at calling people who question geoengineering as being conspiracy theorists. This is not theory. I mean, we proved conclusively that these programs are real. We covered geoengineers talking about this, and of course there have been many congressional hearings on the issue of geoengineering.
Right. Yeah.
So we actually, at the end of the film, went to Washington, D.C. and confronted many of the politicians. But
that was fantastic.
Yeah, it was very effective in the film, and of course, we do have politicians speaking publicly about this issue. So again, it's not conspiracy theory; it's conspiracy fact. But let me explain this. We know that these programs are real. Yeah. They're multi-billion, if not trillion-dollar operations, and they're illegal.
Definitely.
So for the corporate mainstream media to come out and admit that they're doing this would really be damaging to their advertising and many other things. So again, there has been a tremendous amount of political pressure due to the political and monetary agendas associated with these programs. So to think that there would not be a cover-up is ridiculous. However, now the truth is coming out, and I want to thank Dane personally, who has brought a lot of light and a lot of credibility to this issue from the scientific end, because he's done quite a few tests.
Oh, he's great. He's great.
Well, to return the compliment, but with nothing we did had the gravity of the visual film that Michael has put together. Without that tool, this issue would not have gained the traction it has gained. And as Michael said, to disclose this issue, mainstream media would be alienating their biggest sponsors, i.e. Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, all of which are up to their eyeballs in weather modification patents. So it's a money connect the dots. Who's paying for what? It makes it quite clear why we haven't heard a word about this. And people also question that with all the air monitoring in California, if this was really going on, we would certainly know, right? Wrong. I've been in high-level EPA meetings in Sacramento with 5 of the top emissions people who told I and 2 others to our face that when they take a particulate sample, they are told to test for certain elements that are combustion elements only.
Wow.
The rest of the sample goes straight out the window, no matter what's in it. So the system is literally designed not to show anything other than what they're told to look for, which is the usual combustion particulates, and nothing else matters. It doesn't matter how toxic or what it is, nothing else matters. So the system is designed not to show any of this aerosol contamination.
Well, Dane, this goes right back to a survey. You can slant a survey in any way you want. So if they get these tests and they're going to the same lab and they're asking there are only certain things be shown on these tests, they're definitely trying to hide something from somebody.
No question.
Yeah.
And so much so that I also, a year and a half ago, spoke in front of the California Energy Commission, also in Sacramento, because the Energy Commission was aware that they were losing 20% or more of the state's rainfall from particulates of unknown origin. So that was a very big red flag as well.
Okay. This is really interesting. We want you people out there that are listening right now. This is Sovereign Minds Radio, and our crew is really into what's going on here. So if you want to call in, like I said, 530-605-4567. And we'll be right back.
dedication, your passion, your commitment.
The hunt to quench your thirst is on. Ecolo Blue is a revolutionary...
Rise together, rise together, we 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 rise.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen out there. This is Sovereign Minds Radio, and we have Dane Wigington and Michael Murphy out here, and they're really hitting on some really important stuff here. The call-in number is 605-4567. And you can stream link us on out there. This is home of Free Fire Media, of course. And we're going to touch on the ecological values and problems that are going out there with this situation right now. What do you have to say about that, Murphy?
Well, it was interesting because after we went to the geoengineering conference, and again, I want to reiterate their proposals of spraying 10 to 20 million tons of aluminum. I actually went back into Los Angeles, and somebody, Dane Wigington, actually said, "Hey, Mike, would you mind writing an article about this issue?" So I said, "You know what? Yeah, I think so. I think it deserves some credence." So I wrote an article about what the plans and proposals were. And again, 10 to 20 tons of toxic aluminum is toxic to the ecosystem. Anyways, I had written an article, and at night I put my email and my phone number attached to it, and I sent it to an online publication, not thinking it would get much attention. However, when I woke up the next morning, my telephone was ringing off the hook and my inbox was flooded, and the reason was we broke the story on the use of aluminum. And aluminum is being found, as we had stated, in thousands of times the normal amounts in rain and snow samples. As a result, people started contacting me and asking me to come investigate. And one of my first stops was up here in the Redding area, and it was actually, we interviewed with Francis Mangels, who is a retired biologist, who spoke about some ecological implications and profound changes that were happening, and of course Dane. And I want to pass this over to Dane and let him explain to what's been happening on his property. As a filmmaker, Dane has beautiful property up here. I left brokenhearted because I saw the devastation that is occurring up here in this area.
Well, we got somebody on line one named Greg right now. Greg, can you come on through?
Yeah, hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Real good.
And what's your question?
Oh, this is Greg Tomsick with Advanced Power, and I'm in the solar business too, and familiar with the devastating effects it has on our production. But my question is more direct as to who decides when and where the chemtrails are deployed. Because we had a big break during the Gulf oil spill. We had a couple months here with beautiful skies, and then also, is it profit-driven, or is it really? Is somebody really trying to have a positive effect on global warming, whether that's real or imagined?
Thanks for calling, Greg, and that's a very, very good question, and it would be impossible to answer with any certainty, but what we do know, based on what the geoengineers stated and all their modeling showed at the national conference, there are certain conditions that are more conducive to the application of these programs, such as when the low-pressure systems circulate in, as we're starting to get now in this region, they spray heavily in front of those systems. That's where a lot of moisture is contained. It siphons that moisture off, so the rain comes late and comes less than predicted. We've seen that consistently in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So they siphon off a lot of that rain. If you watch satellites, it then broadcasts an artificial, largely rainless cloud over multiple states to the west of us. It appears the west coast is more or less used for a swamp cooler. Those conditions don't exist in the summer, so it's not so conducive for spraying here. And we do get reports of a lot of spraying in the Atlantic Basin in the summer. And there are multiple hurricane suppression patents, numerous patents, and one has to scratch their head and wonder why, since the end of 2005, when the military reinstituted its hurricane suppression programs, we haven't seen anything since. So we seem to get a big break here in the summer. Again, this is all speculation. Can't know some of these dots for sure, but there seems to be increased report of a lot of aerial activity in the Atlantic Basin.